for me, I know I didn't want my representation out there, so I threw some bad to see if it's gonna stick, and it did stick. But I think
you threw some bad at me.
I just didn't want. I wanted to be. I didn't want to. I wanted to be my authentic self, if that makes sense.
But the person is very important now, because when you look at what you want in your marriage, you have to make sure that person can even provide those things, and definitely not going into it thinking, well, after we get married, they'll change.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that, and I don't understand it. Like, you've been in a relationship for years and this person has been that way. Why do you think they're going to say the words I do and tomorrow
it fixes everything?
We're good.
Hey, YouTube.
Hi.
I'm Natasha.
And I'm Chineza.
And we are
You Had Me at Kelly.
You did. Oh, what's going on? So we have this new series that we're excited about.
Yes.
As you can see if you saw the previous episodes of our engagement weekend, I had got my future wife, my fiance, this book called We Over Me. I'm sorry. We Over Me. And it is from
I think it's Khadeen Devale is how I say her name. I probably need to listen to their podcast more closely to know for sure. But they're a popular social media couple that some of you may already know. They have a podcast, like I said, where they talk about their marriage in very candid, transparent ways. They give really good tips. So I had actually sent a link to Tasha saying that we should get this book. And she just kind of blew me off. So she surprised me with it, though, and we are excited to dive in and kind of use it as a prerequisite, I guess, to our couples therapy that we're going to do before getting married. What do they call that? Premarital?
Yeah,
premarital. Like that. But we're pretty good with having our own discussions and digging deep and things like that. So we wanted to go ahead and get started, even though we have like 18, 19 months to go. But we want to make sure our marriage is
solid.
And
intentional.
Yes.
That is our theme. So we're going to go ahead and jump in it.
Yeah. So what we want to do is, in this segment, is read a chapter out off video, because I'm sure y'all don't want to just watch us reading, but we read it together, and then we spend the week thinking about that chapter and how it relates to us, anything that it brought up, anything that we'd like to discuss with each other. And then that's the part that we're going to share with you guys, the real nitty gritty of it all, and getting into how we feel about what they said. So my baby read the introduction to us about a week ago, and we highlighted one portion that we thought we could talk about. And whose section is this in, babe?
I believe it is
Khadeen. Which is so funny. I just figured out that Khadeen is the female.
Yes.
And Devale, and I said she, didn't I, when I just said Devale or Devale, however you say it, is actually the guy. I am so confused with their names. But so Khadeen said, you have to be in love with the notion of marriage, not in love with a person.
You have to be in love with the notion of marriage and not in love with the person.
Right. So her way of explaining it is, finding your person is indeed a substantial part of the equation, but a person can and will change. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
which is inevitable. Change is always inevitable. And I'm not big on change.
That I'm going to admit, that is the part that scares me a lot, but I don't know. I feel like we've changed in the 3 years we've been together, in my opinion. I don't think they're drastic changes, but
no, I don't think it's drastic changes, because again, you guys are probably going to be tired of this theme. I know for me, I didn't want my representative to be forefront.
Yeah.
So I came out intentionally saying all the things that I would like and want in the next in this relationship.
Yeah.
And I have to thank my ex for allowing me to be that way, because that was a pretty difficult breakup. So for me, I knew this time, and my aunt, because I do remember I have said this before. My aunt asked me, "Is it you? You sure it's not you? How come you could be in these long-term relationships and they end?" Because I don't do short-term. I'm not. I'm in it, and I'm always 100 in the relationship. So for me, I know I didn't want my representation out there, so I threw some bad to see if it's gonna stick, and it did stick. But I think
You threw some bad at me?
yeah, I just didn't want. I wanted to be. I didn't want to. I wanted to be my authentic self, if that makes sense.
It does. But it's interesting to hear because that means I didn't even notice it as bad.
Bad.
Yeah. So
Which
that's
proves
a
to
difference.
show that it wasn't me.
And I don't know about that. Because I think I probably know the things you're talking about, but I just think I might be able to adapt to it a little more, or a little more. I don't even know how to say it. A little more lenient with just allowing you to be you, not trying to change you into what I'd want you to be. So in those bad moments, I just let you be you, and I protect my peace, and I'll wait and come back and talk to you later instead of arguing about it or trying to change you. But
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think any big changes have come or will come. I think it's more in like you have this vision of how your relationship is, and sometimes that can change, and it can be because you work a different job now, and maybe you work overnight instead of daytime, so we don't go out as much as we used to, and having to adapt to this new person and how they have to adapt to their new schedule or their new career, or you never know when like family issues are going to come out outside of us. If we have to take care of a family member, or like if my mom were to get sick or something like that, that could change our dynamic of our relationship and what we're used to. Even with like when Ariel moved in, our first year or so was just us, and things were much different. I feel like even back then, I think I probably made breakfast for you more. I catered to you more because it was just the two of us. I think we were a lot more affectionate because it was just the two of us.
That's because she don't want to cook for you, Ari.
Don't you say that. Ari ain't gonna watch this anyway.
See, but I'm not eating no more.
I felt things change. Definitely once she moved in. I think it was more so with me. It was new to me to just be me and you. It was my first time not being a mom in 19 years, still being a mom, but her not living with me. And then I could just adapt to just being a girlfriend, but then when she came back, it was like, oh, okay, I know how this is when I have to be the girlfriend and the mom and then it gets a little overwhelming.
You hear it. I think I had to adapt to that because that was one of the things that was so important to me.
Yeah.
Was I wanted someone, and it sounds selfish, to cater to me a little bit more, per se, or to feel like I was front and center. But everything happens for a reason. But I love Ari home. I never want to see her leave. She's, so for me, that adjustment has been a blessing to me, more so than the selfish me, which is I didn't want to feel like I'm the focal point finally in my old age. So yeah, I guess so. I never gave it much thought on that change. But I've always felt like I went through a weird change of wanting to be married to doing that portion of it stupidly. And that's no disrespect to anyone. It's just poor decision making and me growing up.
Yeah, I was gonna say not being as mature.
Yeah, in that situation, for that, not going too deep. I'll probably have to do that on a side video. But going through that notion and then realizing that I was such a jerk that shouldn't have happened, to I'm never getting married, as black and white as I am, and then stuck it in the ground, and then coming around to the last breakup to say, oh, okay, I really do want to be married. I deserve to be with my person, into wanting that. So it was the idea of of marriage has changed for me drastically. So I can actually understand what they say. I think when I looked at it, what's so profound is that when I first thought about marriage, I was infatuated with the person in the notion of that day, not living the rest of my life with said person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, that's what was so profound when I read it, because it actually did the growth that I needed to come to understand, and not even put it in perspective now until I read it. So I never thought about it until this past week of actually thinking about it, and thinking about, if I timeline my situation and where I am now, I was in love with the person and the thought of what that person would look like on that day. That I'm a Pisces, so I fantasize, and I didn't fantasize beyond the point that she might not like me in that manner, right? Yeah. So for me, it's different, because now I want marriage, and I love the notion of that when we actually do it, this is it. And for me to work on who I am, which I have been, for her and for myself to be better.
I think for me, when it comes to marriage, of course, my first one was just, you're young, you find out you're pregnant, you just got to do something. And that's just what we did. That's what it feels like, though. But I was kind of convinced into that by my father, and that it was the right thing to do. And we did it. But I didn't see it as important as marriage really is. It was something to do. And that's why it was easy for it to end. Then as I got older and more mature, I think marriage became just a goal that women are supposed to achieve. And I'm getting older and older, and I haven't achieved it. And so my main focus was really just on I need to have someone propose to me. Like, someone has to want me to be their wife, but still not focusing on the actual whole of marriage and what it means. And to the point where I was praying for and wishing for marriage with someone who I wouldn't even want to spend the rest of my life with. Just, I wanted that validation of,
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I've been in this long and I deserve it, so I want to get it. And then I would have been miserable and going through a divorce a second time. So I'm happy that now I can see marriage for what it really is. And although I'm obsessed with the day and all of the fun that we're having planning it and all of that, I can tell that my main focus is the actual marriage after that. That is a fun event we're going to have together, just like every fun event that we do together, but it's not the end all be all. It's not my focus. It's not what I'm putting my intention into. I'm putting it into, how is our house going to feel? How is our family going to grow? How are we going to combine everything together? Things like that. The important marriage stuff. So I agree that you should focus on marriage and not the person.
It's definitely an interesting take on it.
But the person is very important now, because when you look at what you want in your marriage, you have to make sure that person can even provide those things. And definitely not going into it thinking, well, after we get married, they'll change.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that, and I don't understand it. Like, you've been in a relationship for years and this person has been that way. Why do you think they're going to say the words I do and tomorrow
it fixes everything?
We're good.
Yeah, definitely. You have to, what I realized is that you have to want it just as bad as your person, right? Your spouse. But you also have to realize that you have to work on yourself in order to achieve it.
Yeah.
Am I marriage material, or am I just that person that I can put the wool over your eyes and give you that representative, and there it is. And then you wake up after marriage and it's not. Now you got this person who's changing so much in front of you.
Yeah. Or even you're changing and you're realizing, like, I've built this based on my representative. It's not even really what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I say you got to give everybody the ugly. Just the ugly, you know.
I guess my ugly just shows on its own. I don't know if I'm self-aware enough to know what my uglies are, but I'm pretty sure they come out pretty quickly because I'm just me.
I definitely know. I'm very self-aware
Of your uglies?
Of my uglies. Very self-aware. You know, I'm very black and white. Don't move too much. When my head is down, it's down. And when I dig in, I dig in. Yeah. What?
No.
You disagree?
No, I agree. Maybe this book will help me find my uglies, and we can talk about that in a different segment.
You know where your uglies are.
I probably do, but I don't think they're that ugly. Because
well, no, I say ugly because when I use the word ugly, it's not because I'm saying it's bad. I don't think any of my attributes that make me who I am are bad. What it does is makes it me be a difficult person to be with. So knowing my ugly, what can I change to make it not so difficult to be loved?
Gotcha. More palatable.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody brings something to the table.
Yeah, definitely.
And I never want to change anybody, because then if I have to change you, then you weren't the person that I thought you were.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there it is. We don't want to kind of talk your head off about it. What do you guys feel about that statement, that you have to be in love? You have to have the notion, I want to quote it correctly, the notion, you have to love the notion. Be in
love with the notion of marriage.
Not in love with the person. Yeah, not in love with the person.
So yeah, we want to hear what you all feel about that as well. If you're cool with sharing like we did any past times where maybe you were in love with the person and not the notion of marriage and kind of made mistakes. And then also, we would love for any of you that are on this journey of being engaged with us, or you're already married and you're working on your relationship, buy the book and start to read it with us. And then when we talk about each chapter, then you'll be able to talk about it with us a little more clear in the comments. And we'd love to have that dialogue with you guys. So yeah, I'm excited for chapter 1. Chapter 1 is don't be afraid to make your own rules. So I'm guessing it's about, your relationship is yours. And so you make your rules of what you should do. Because, a lot of times we feel like, well, you're supposed to, when no, not in every relationship. So I'm excited about that one. We'll probably read that tonight or tomorrow. And then you'll see another video from us.
All right. So I'm super excited. Again, the book is We Over Me by Khadeen and Devale Ellis. Yes. A beautiful couple. I just saw that, I don't follow them, so don't. And this is not what do you call it? They didn't ask us to read it.
Oh, not sponsored at all, y'all. They don't know us.
They don't know us. Not one.
Y'all see, we only got 90 subscribers. Don't nobody know us.
You don't know. You barely know us, right? So, but yeah. So I finally just saw like a picture of them and their family. It's a beautiful family.
Yeah, their kids are beautiful family.
Beautiful family. So I'm really souped to read more, because reading through the introductory, they definitely have their takes.
Yeah, I like their personalities and everything. Oh, and their podcast is called Dead Ass with K and D, if anybody wants to listen to the podcast. So Dead ASS with K and D.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to be a wrap for us. Again, happy Easter to everybody who celebrates. This is Easter Sunday. That's why we dressed up.
I was going to say, y'all probably won't see this on Easter, but happy Easter.
Yeah, well, still, it's happy Easter. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm Natasha.
I'm Chineza.
And we are
You Had Me at Kelly. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, we appreciate it.